Welcome to Shortys Supercoach and welcome to this week's press conference. And it's a slightly better week for Shorty. We took a slight step forward. It was far more impressive. As you can see, I scored 2,098, which in numbers talking isn't a fantastic score, but in the scheme of things was pretty decent rate in the top six. What are we? 12,510 for the week, which that's decent. It allowed me to move up some 17,000 spots in the ranking, which I sort of expect to do a fair bit more because I need to. As you can see, that overall rank isn't great. Won 7 out of the 9 leagues. Also had a draw, which I'll feature on later. Of course, the only loss I suffered there was to the Exterminators in one of my Shortys Supercoach league, so well done to you there, mate. Moving on to my side, as you can see, not a bad sort of lineup for the week. I guess I was probably helped by a lot of people may have had Ryan Davis on the field, Mitch Brown or Tom Papley on the field. Could have hurt them there. And also Pritis was a laid out. Josh Gibson didn't play. Jason Johannesson, although he scored well, of course a lot of people will be ruining the fact that he could be out for about 2 months with that really bad hamstring injury, and you'd be kicking yourself if you traded him in, say, a week ago before he went up in price, because again, he was on his way to another 110, 120 plus sort of score, and he's just pinged the hammy, and by all reports it's quite high up and torn the tendon really bad apparently, so he'll go into scans probably around the time when this gets published, and hopefully for his sake it's not that bad, but I guess it looks very likely, and from my point of view I may dodge a bullet there. But back to my side, the back line was somewhat consistent. The midfield is continuing to disappoint with blokes in second and third gear without really getting into their top gears. The ruck department was consistent, and the forward line was so-so. I mean, I'll take it. I'll take this week. I mean, it's an improvement. I'm moving up in the world of SuperCoach because for much of the last few weeks in opening rounds, I'd simply been moving down. So a few problem areas that are letting me down are Jesse Lonergan and Sam Gray, which ironically are two blokes that you take a risk on start of the season. And Ollie Wines, you could probably say, is also killing me as well as a premium midfielder. He's not quite happening for me. I will wait and see on him. I shouldn't say wait and see. I'll be patient with him. I'm quite happy for him to take his time to turn around his form. He's not in bad form. I mean, he's finding the ball. He's just not using it very well. Sam Gray is probably the biggest of my worries. He's really concerning me. He's down at 420,000, so perhaps until something arises that I can change with, then I might make a move. But at the moment, he's leaking cash like a sieve, and it's just going to have to stay that way. I am just going to have to hope he turns his form around, so I'll hold on to him and we'll just wait and see. But my team as a whole is decent. I mean, McDonald, Tipping Woody and Marcus Adams have been revelations in the back line. I'm happy with Rich, Birchall and Bartel. They're quite consistent performers and slight point of difference to some. As I say, I need Jesse Lonergan to lift. He is a great points per disposal player because he wins it in the contest and he tackles hard. I think he only had 14 touches and he returned 60 points. He has no trouble producing points. It's just finding the outside pill that seems to be his struggle. So hopefully he can turn that around. As we look at that midfield, again, 109, 108, 104, 89, 84. They're not bad scores. You know, if I had, say, a Dangerfield or a Fife scoring 140s there, I'd say, oh yeah, you know, I'll take a low 100 score for my third or fourth premium. But these are guys that I probably need, not having a crack at Ablett, mind you, he's been very good, but you know, I probably need more top-end scores, which has been my just calling out for some time. Pendlebury, though, was back in the midfield, and can I just say, what is going on with the Pies? I mean, I know there's a lot going wrong, but for starters, do not start Pendlebury off the half-back flank. I don't care if he's got rib troubles or what. After they got hammered in that first quarter, he went into the midfield, had immediate impact. I think he had 3 touches in the first quarter and 22 in the last 3 when he played pure midfield. So wake up, Buckley. Your midfield is not good enough to have your best player just scrounging on a wing or a half-back flank. He dominated in that second quarter and gave him some life. So I think there's upside for Pendlebury, and if you don't have him, he's just at a beautiful, tempting price. Probably not this week, but pretty soon. You could probably wait out a week or so and he'll probably drop around $5.50 and be a great price. As you can see, I went Nick Nat instead of Goldstein. Obviously Leuenberg had an 81, but still, I mean, it was improved, but he's still just back to his round 1 price and then a break even of about 43. So I don't see him making much dosh, and I had to make that move really with either Nick Nat or Goldstein. As you can see, I don't know if you can see, I'll make sure I put it in the screenshot, but I have 186,000 in the bank. That was my main reason for doing that, was to just have a bit of cash in the bank instead of blowing it all on the one trade with Goldstein, which will allow me to keep an eye on Heath Shaw in the coming weeks, and perhaps a Lee Montagna, and perhaps a Paddy Dangerfield, depending how he goes once that 166 goes out of his rolling 3 rounds. So we'll just have to wait and see. As I say, I'm relatively happy with most players. If I'm raising concerns, it's definitely Lonergan and Sam Gray, and also a slight concern on my bench rookies. I mean, if you look at the playing rookies, Adams, McDonald, Tipping, Woody, Kennedy, Kerridge, Mills, Wells is a revelation, and Corey Ellis. Oh yes, I should say I used the loophole there with Corey's 81 on Friday. Didn't want to risk Papley, which turned out to save me a solid 60 odd points there, so that was good. But you look at blokes trying to make some money. Mitch Brown is a slow grind. Ryan Davis is sort of halting. Hewitt is out. Of course, Crouch is still injured. My R3, of course, not doing much. Papley as well is about to come to a standstill. And Corey Ellis will be on the field this week. So Petrarca also not making cash. So I'm thankful I have that money in the bank, but also a bit wary that I really need someone like Mitch Brown to really fire up, Ryan Davis to hopefully hold his spot, and Papley to get back to some sort of form. I probably do need to inject a form of cash generation, and I'm looking at, say, someone like a Tom Ruggles or Joshy Wagner from the D's. Leaning towards Wagner just because I think he's possibly got better job security. They're both mature age, and of course Wagner had a very good outing against the Pies, scoring 76 points, so hopefully be able to utilise that for a few rounds to come to generate some cash, but we'll see what happens getting named and everything like that. But the team's coming along. It's positive that I'm making quite a bit of cash on the ground. It'll just be intriguing as to where I can downgrade and things like that to generate the real cash, but we'll wait and see on that. Moving on to the leagues and the SuperCoach League, of course, SuperCoach HQ. Get along to that website. If you're watching this on YouTube, get along to the website there. Plenty of content and articles most days, and certainly leading up to when the weekend's approaching. You get everything you need to know there, and of course you might be listening to this press conference on that site anyway. But I had a great hit out with Josh there, Garlic's Best 22, and as we were chatting online, and as we predicted, it was always going to come down to the wire, and it did exactly that. We had a draw, which is quite unbelievable. Both scored 2,098. I've cancelled my Christmas card to Nat Fife. He destroyed me there. 2 late goals. I must say, Josh, I wasn't watching it as close as you because it was all in the hands of Fife, and I didn't want to be hovering over the keyboard just hoping that he was not scoring well because he's such a gun. It's hard to barrack against someone like that. 2 late goals probably cost me, but to be honest, when he had that, I was kind of fearful that he would probably get scaled up to that extra point and I'd lose by a point, which would have been extremely frustrating. I needed a win, but they're my first points of the year, as you can see, at 11th, just 2 points there. But look, we'll take some sort of points, and a very good very good effort there by both of us. Some quality scores and a really good hit out, and yeah, some good banter throughout the weekend. But yeah, definitely needed the win, but we'll certainly take the draw because it's good to open that account in some form and at least get off that winless and pointless stage from a ladder perspective. So yeah, very good hit out there, and I'll just have a sneaky look at who I've got next week. Where are we? Shortys Superstars plays top billings. Whereabouts is he? He's in at 6th. Oh, Aaron, there we go. Yeah, he's been travelling fairly nicely. So, no, that should be a good hit out. But yeah, draws are rare these days. I can't remember how many draws I've even had. I think I can only recall 1 or 2 draws. I had one in Dream Team back in the day. Maybe only one other one. So they're certainly rare, but yeah, very good hit out there. Basically, that's all I've got for you today, guys. Thanks for hanging around and having a listen into how my side went. I hope your team went alright as well. Let me know how you're going, and hopefully nothing too bad has struck you. I think a few will have Johannesson, which is disappointing. I'll discuss trade options for him. I'm sure people are going to ask questions about that. I mean, feel free to, and I'll give an answer, of course, but I will probably do some sort of video, or at least mention it heavily in my weekend preview later in the week on, that'll be the Thursday, I think I'll be doing that. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Give the video a like. Questions always welcome, and give me the feedback on the video. Subscribe to the channel, as I always say, and I'll be back later in the week for some more SuperCoach content.